Yo, what is good, everyone? Happy Friday to you all. Today I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite cash game plays for this Week 9 NFL Draftkings main slate, and like I always do, I'm going to go position by position, breaking down each of those plays. With that being said, let's dive right into this. Now, two quick things here before we dive into the quarterbacks, everyone. Number one, I am getting this video out to you guys way later than I typically do. Currently recording this here on Friday night, so I do apologize for that. Just to be honest with you guys, work has been kicking my ass here as of late. Really ever since I left for that trip in Charlotte, North Carolina a few weeks ago. I've been playing catch up ever since and have had very limited downtime. And during that downtime, I've basically been making content or spending time in the gym trying to clear my head. I feel like I should be back on track next week, but again, getting this out way later than I typically do, so apologies for that. And number two, and probably more importantly here, the main slate for Week 9 is not pretty, especially from a cash game perspective. I actually kind of like these slates here from a tournament or GPP side of things because we can build some unique lineups, but we really don't want to be building a bunch of unique lineups from a cash game perspective, but that's the slate we have to work with here this week. To be upfront with you guys, I might fade cash games completely this week. That's just the way I'm kind of approaching it, but I am a man of my word here and still wanted to get out some of the cash game plays that were sticking out to me, so let's dive into this here. Now, diving into the quarterbacks here, the first thing you will notice about the graphics this week is I'm not doing individual player breakdowns, but rather just highlighting the entire position and the players I like for that position. There's two big reasons for that. Number one, I just haven't had the time to do the individual graphics, but again, more importantly here, I just don't know if I'm going to be playing cash games here this week, and I find it hard to advocate for certain individual players, do a full player breakdown when I'm not going to be playing cash games myself. But with that being said, let's dive into the quarterbacks here. I got four that are sticking out to me, two higher priced options, kind of a mid-priced option, and then a spend down option as well. The first two there, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I think we can spend up with these guys more weeks than not. Obviously, Lamar let us down last week in a good matchup on the road against the Arizona Cardinals, but I'm not going to be afraid to go back to him. We know the rushing upside is there. There is some shootout potential in this game between them and the Seahawks. $8,200 is expensive, but we know that he can get us 25 DraftKings points. I do think I like Jalen Hurts just a little bit more, though. There's even more shootout potential in that game between the Eagles and Cowboys. It's very clear that he's got something going on with this knee injury. I think he had 3 total rush attempts last week, and they were basically just the QB sneaks that he was doing. So he's going to have to use his arm in this game here. But with that being said, the shootout potential, division rival, I expect him to play at his best. $8,000 here, we need 24 DraftKings points. But I'm not going to be afraid to go to the other side of that game as well with Dak Prescott. Coming out of the bye last week, he looked great against the Los Angeles Rams, put up 32 plus DraftKings points, and this Eagles defense is one of the best at stopping the run, but they are a pass funnel defense. They've allowed quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends to play well against that defense all year long, and I don't mind the price here at $6,500, where we would need 19.5 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. And then if I'm looking to spend down, I know a lot of people are talking about Aiden O'Connell this week for the Raiders. Look, I just don't know if I can trust him, even though he is just $4,500. But Deshaun Watson is back this week. Good matchup at home to kind of get back on track here against the Cardinals. Really cheap price tag there at $5,400, where we would need 16.2 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Now, moving over here to the running backs, and I did find this to be the easiest position to lock down from a cash game perspective. If you are going to be playing cash, I wouldn't be afraid to spend up for Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley, or Josh Jacobs this week, but then you do have a nice spend down option there with Chuba Hubbard, and we actually got word that Dameon Pierce for the Houston Texans is not going to be playing here on Sunday, so I also think that Devin Singletary in the 4K range could be viable. I know he hasn't been great, we really haven't seen what he can do in that offense, but honestly it just comes down to the price and him being the number one running back in that offense. But again, wouldn't be afraid to spend up for Alvin Kamara, Barkley, or Jacobs. Kamara's just been a workhorse in that Saints offense, whether it be the running game or passing game. He's getting volume week in and week out, and sure, his price is climbing as well, but $8,100 is still reasonable enough for cash games. We need 24.3 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Now, volume has not been an issue for Saquon Barkley of the Giants either. Since coming back from injury in week 6, he had 29, 25, and 41 opportunities opportunities. Now, I'm not banking on him getting 40 opportunities week in and week out, but basically this Giants offense is running through Barkley right now, and I definitely don't mind that matchup indoors against the Raiders. Now, on the other side of that game, I definitely don't mind Josh Jacobs either, especially considering that Aiden O'Connell is going to be starting at quarterback. The last time O'Connell started, we saw Jacobs get 11 targets in that game. Again, I don't know if I can bank on that number, but I suspect that Jacobs is going to see a handful of dump downs from O'Connell this week, and a nice price tag there of $6,900, and a really good matchup against that Giants defense, who have not been able to stop the run all year long. At that price, we need 20.7 DraftKings points in order for Jacobs to hit 3x value. And then if you are looking to save some money at the running back position here this week, again, you could go with Devin Singletary of the Houston Texans, priced at $4,300. No Dameon Pierce this week. He should be the lead back in that offense. Or Chuba Hubbard here for the Carolina Panthers. It looks like he's taken over as the number one running back in that offense. Miles Sanders had just 2 carries last week. Playing the Colts at home here this week at $5,000, where you would need 15 DraftKings points in order for him to meet 3x value. Now, folks, before we dive into the wide receivers here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. We hit 3,500 subs on Slydog Sports this week, and I want to thank every single one of you who have subscribed to the channel so far. The next goal for us is to get to 4,000 subs, so if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that red button below. Now let's dive into these wide receivers. Now, as I'm recording here, I just got a Twitter notification, so I went to go look at it, and I was scrolling through my timeline, and I came across this tweet from an NFL guy that I follow that's big into DFS. I thought it couldn't be more relevant to this video that I'm making right now. It says the NFL is putting out one of its worst ever slates of football this weekend. So I promise you, I'm not the only one who thinks that this weekend. I thought it was funny, though. Someone responded, "What? There's an awesome matchup in 4 different time slots this Sunday," and I think he was being sarcastic. But the response is even better. There are 5 games with totals under 40, 6 backup quarterbacks, not a single relevant game in the 1 p.m. Eastern window, unless you want to watch Geno Smith throw for 173 yards. Every Sunday has a few good games, but the percentage of slop this week is unlike anything I've ever seen. So I thought it was relevant to the video that I'm making, but with that being said, let's look at these wide receivers. And going back to this game here between the Eagles and Cowboys, it's got the highest implied total here on the main slate. Again, some shootout potential here between these two teams. I like CeeDee Lamb better than A.J. Brown, and maybe that is a mistake because A.J. Brown has truly been dominant this year. Needless to say, I do think both are in play, but again, considering that Eagles defense is so good at stopping the run, but have been a pass funnel defense, and CeeDee can really eat in the middle of the field, I do like him at that price of $8,200. I'm going to be playing him in tournaments everywhere this weekend. You need 24.6 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. The next guy I got there then is Adam Thielen, who's been a cash game king really all year long, and if you're playing him in tournaments, you're probably making some solid money too. Unfortunately, his price has climbed here into the mid 7K range, but I think he still can get us there to 22.5 DraftKings points, meet that 3x value. I mean, he's clearly done that a handful of times already this year. No reason to think he can't do that against this Colts defense, whose cornerbacks are not very good. Now, dipping into the 5K range here, I think Terry F1 McLaurin is viable against the Patriots this week. Not something I typically like to target against that Patriots defense, but they do rank 18th overall in pass DVOA this year, just slightly worse than the mid-pack, and it really just comes down to the volume. Sam Howell is throwing the ball at a ridiculous rate. A lot of those targets are going to McLaurin, and he's a reasonable price tag here at $5,600, where you would need 16.8 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. And then if you're looking to save money at the wide receiver position this week, Demario Douglas is sitting at a nice price of $4,000 for the New England Patriots. You need 12 DraftKings points in order for him to hit 3x value. Solid matchup at home here against the Commanders, but even more so, you're just targeting the situation for the Patriots right now. They lost 2 wide receivers here, first being Kendrick Bourne to an ACL injury. He's out for the year, and Devontae Parker is not playing this week either. So between Douglas, Juju Smith-Schuster, maybe the tight ends, those are going to be the pass catchers for the Patriots this week, and again, a solid matchup at home against the Commanders. And then I got a few tight ends here for you. At the 4K range or below, I don't mind Jake Ferguson, David Njoku, or if you're really looking to save money in Cade Otton of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if I can, I want to get to Jake Ferguson or David Njoku. Both those guys got really good matchups. Again, I've talked about the Eagles' pass funnel defense this year. Ferguson has been legit in that Cowboys offense. $4,000, you need 12 DraftKings points. David Njoku here, you got Deshaun Watson back this week. Good matchup against the Cardinals at home. $3,800 where you need 11.4 DraftKings points. And then again, if you're looking to save money, Cade Otton here, the Bucks, matchup on the road against the Texans. He's only $3,000 here this weekend where you would need 9 DraftKings points for him to hit 3x value. And this is a guy who's now seen 6 targets in back-to-back games. If he gets 5-6 targets again this week, I'd be very happy with that considering the price. And then finally, we got the defenses here. 2 on my radar this week. First being the New England Patriots at home here against the Commanders, who arguably have the worst offensive line in the NFL. Sam Howell takes sacks, isn't afraid to turn the ball over, and they're only $2,900 where you would need 8.7 DraftKings points for them to hit 3x value. Now, if you're really looking to save some money here, the New York Giants going up against the rookie quarterback and Aiden O'Connell, I don't mind that at $2,300 where you would need 6.9 DraftKings points. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great weekend here, folks. Let's win some money on this Week 9 main slate. And in the meantime, I'm out of here.